Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through the Sydney vs Fremantle round 9 game and how Fremantle won in the end against a pretty depleted Swans outfit, and how GULDEN and Warner and I guess Rowbottom, Parker and Heaney are really the only shining lights for the Swans this year. There isn't much going right for the Swans. And I mean, they just lost their captain and a fancy relevant player that sort of helped me out this round. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, GULDEN 153, biggest score of the round, I'm pretty sure at the moment. Is it? Let me just check. Biggest score of the round, and I've got VC on him with 2 games to go, so only really a couple people like Laird, Dawson, Steele I think can really outscore him. And if we look here at the last round, you'll see he even has a gap of 11 to the next guy. Goldie wouldn't have been captain and Rao wouldn't have been captain, so the next big guy that people would have captained would have been Taranto, which is 24, 27 points to Oliver. Some people would have done Walsh, which is 29 points. And then the next big guy that would have been VC'd, probably Darcy. That's 38 points. We're starting to get to big numbers here of points that I've just made up and gapped people on. So GULDEN 153, a second half 96. And he didn't even get any marks, basically. If you look here, I think he had 5 marks maybe. 6 marks, 5 tackles. Like, if you're really thinking about it, if they played slow and methodical, like I think every Swans fan was screaming out for, he probably could have had a 170 or 180 game. And yeah, he looks like the form guy. I mean, let's go to AFL break-evens, because I'm a cheapskate and don't have the AFL fantasy subscription, so I have to go the long way. GULDEN had a break even of 52, so he's just gone and broken it by 100. So I wouldn't be surprised if he jumps up to my F2 now because of back-to-back huge games. And yeah, that forward line is looking pretty strong at the moment. And as most people would have Dunkley and Sheasel anyway, my low scores. So McPherson was the one downer, I guess. But, Rosie is another point of, another guy that most people have, who I need to probably trade out in the coming weeks after I get rid of all my rookies, to be honest with you. And then, so GULDEN, yeah, he was even on 57, and if you look at this, if he actually had a really good second quarter here, say he takes and has a 34-point quarter, that's a 170 again. He just looks and scores really well, and I know a lot of people get stuck on the wing. A lot of people, like we saw Akers get stuck with his wing roll and not getting marked. The thing about GULDEN is that he's the 5th guy into the contest, so he's almost Fiorini, but he has that Fiorini type role, but Fiorini's in the forward line. But he's also on the wing, and the Swans are not going through the centre as much. They're going through the wing, and he's being able to be used. And so he's getting a lot of marks there as well, and a lot of these cheap sort of possessions as well. And also coming in from the wing, he's on the right-hand side of the wing and is able to just run in, and then a Parker or a Rowbottom will get the ball, turn around and fling it over their shoulder, and GULDEN has about 2 or 3 steps to get the ball and then get it onto his left foot as well, so that gives him enough time to get it off and get the disposal. And that's why we saw GULDEN get to 153 in the end. And yeah, he's looking like the form guy in the comp at the moment, and is now averaging 107 for the year. And yeah, he's gone from being a guy that we almost wanted to trade out about 3 weeks ago after this 70 to going 116, 161, 153, which was 4th or 5th best score of the round so far. Another really good round score. And yeah, he's really only had 1 bad game. Like, if you take out this, 2 bad games, take out this 70 and 71, and his next lowest score is a 95. So yeah, he's been pretty amazing, and yeah, just happy to keep him. We just spent 5 minutes on the first player. Warner, 104, just too risky at the moment. Needs to learn how to get rid of tags, to be honest, and then he'll be a good guy. But, I mean, he's averaging, I think, 91 or so this year, so not bad, but not the 100 that I sort of predicted. I was probably a little bit too overzealous about a lot of players scoring hundreds. I think I had something like 40 players going and turning up this year rather than the predicted or last year's average of, I think it was 18 went and scored over 100 last year, averaged over 100. So, yeah, that was a bad miss by me. Lloyd, 95. I just don't like the way he plays, to be honest, as a Swan. He's just too small, too weak as a defender and gets found out a lot, to be honest. Rowbottom, 88. Parker, 88. These guys just in the midfield doing their thing. And that's the midfield for the future, to be honest, is Warner, Rowbottom and Parker. Then you got Heaney. Yes, there is Mills there, but that should be the four-man rotation as well as having a fifth guy that should be a taller guy. Like 188 as your tallest in the midfield is just not good enough through four guys. Papley just didn't have the best game, to be honest. Came alive in the last quarter. Francis, actually, I thought was pretty much our best player until in the first half. And then fell away a lot in the second half. But, I mean, there was nothing much he could do when he's 192 against guys that are 7-8 centimetres taller than him. They just eventually got enough chances in there to burn him in the end. Blakey did all right. Fox, Hickey was pretty bad. Campbell, McLean, Cunningham, Florent, McInerney, I thought had a pretty poor game again. Clark had an alright game for what he's in there to do. Hayward again was pretty disappointing. Gould, didn't really notice him, to be honest with you. And then McDonald went down injured. Sheether, and then Franklin was really disappointing again, as he got a free kick and then gave away tackle, which was really weird. And then we move on to Fremantle here, and Sean Darcy, a 115, outdid English this week, so he looked pretty good. What's he averaging this year, Darcy? Oops, he didn't type that right. Darcy averaging a clean 100 through 9 games and 95 in the last 3, whereas English is 114 in the last 3. Is English given up his number? Yes, he has. I'm pretty sure to Tom Green at the moment. Yes. But yeah, so Darcy, a 115, didn't even hit his break even, but he's been good enough this year as a ruck guy. But you've given up 8 points per game and 15 points per game to Marshall and English respectively. Sarong, a 113. He really came alive in when Freo started to dominate the game, and he came alive and ended up, I'm pretty sure, with a bucket load of disposals, something like 35, I want to say, in the end for Sarong. Sarong, he ended up with 33 touches in the end. Yeah, I was close. 33 touches for him, huge. And I mean, if we look at the, I just want to look here for Sydney. We look here who gave the not many kickouts, and so it was between those guys. And then we look here at Freo and Luke Ryan Young, sort of a split there, nothing much to talk about. Then we go over to, let's just check the CBAs to see if anything important happened. We see here it was Sean Darcy Sarong up to 84, so we've seen a very steady amount for him, 80%. Brayshaw, 77%. I think Brayshaw's a guy that you can depend on to get 100s. O'Meara's actually been really good. And we see here, so 8 and 9, he started to pick up, did O'Meara. And we look at O'Meara, 658k, and he's gone, what happened in the Suns game that he dropped? Let's look at O'Meara. In the Suns game, 59%. Adelaide, 32%. And he went and scored a 64. So, and North, he went and scored 89. So this would be a very risky play. North, 89. 70% against St Kilda for a 72. So that would be a very risky pay to rely on him to score well, especially with 2 games to go and having a absolute, probably the toughest schedule in the comp. I mean, if you added Collingwood there, that would be the toughest, basically, month of footy that you could get. And yeah, just would not be picking him on the basis of that. That pretty much, if you really wanted to go so risky with O'Meara, you could, but not with that schedule coming up. Brayshaw, Young did really well. Jackson, O'Meara's we're talking about. Young, Ryan got to 94. Don't know how. Didn't really notice him, to be honest, that much, as he sort of just gets all those cheap possessions. Schultz, Tracy was really, really good, not going to lie. What's he priced at? 278. He really dominated in the last quarter. Then you have Clark, Erasmus again doing really well, but he's just such a big risk with Fife in the side that they're just going to sub him out. And at 409k, you cannot be having that. As it was on 73 at 3/4 time, then they decided to pull him. Cox, Banfield, Swiskowski, Frederick, Hughes, Amos, Walters, O'Driscoll had sort of an iffy game. Aish was in and around it, but not much. Pierce the Pierce Franklin matchup was one of the weirdest matchups I've ever seen, as both players got kicked. It got kicked to them so much, yet they only combined for 63 fantasy points, and it was just like they both didn't want to win the contest. Walker, and then Fife came on in the last quarter, got 17 in the end. A weird game for him, not gonna lie. 2 free kicks is that against in the last quarter, and 2 free kicks for. That's just a weird set of scores there for 5.25. And yeah, that's really it for the game. So yeah, Sydney lose again and lose 2 more guys, including Callum Mills 3. And his price is going to plummet now. I believe some have it estimated at 740k with a 140 break even. So he's just turning more and more. If we look at Mills, what's his scoring for the year? 82 scoring average for the year. I mean, what did he average last year? Didn't he average like 105 or something? He averaged 111 last year. So we won't get the luxury of having his best, like this, such low average from him. But 9 games played, 82. We might actually get it, because he's going to have the 10 games played. And doesn't that mean that they take the best, that they just take his score average from the season before? So that could be really good, as 82 for him next, even if it won't be next year, but even if he's priced at like 90 or something next year, when the Swans have more defensive reinforcements, could really help, as Mills will get that pure midfield role, and that'll really help to get his better scoring. But we'll talk about that in preseason next year when we know what his average is. So that's the video there, and I'll see you guys in the next video tomorrow. Thanks guys, goodbye.